Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Elf. I just want to combat evil. Arthur traveled to the world of Pokémon and became the distant nephew of Dr. Oki, becoming childhood sweethearts with Naomi, Lillian, and others. As Arthur was preparing to travel as a trainer, the Justice Partner system was activated. What else is there to hesitate about? Arthur decisively joined the Alliance forces and became a glorious international police officer, becoming a nightmare for all criminal forces. Sakaki, you don't want Xiaomao to be hunted down by the Alliance because of your relationship, do you? Akira, this world is indeed imperfect because of the existence of you people. Padula, as the Heavenly King, you have joined the Flash team, you have fallen. In Dew's eyes, Arthur is a like-minded partner and an ally of justice. In Hirona's eyes, Arthur was the light of the right path, and wherever he went, the criminals had nowhere to hide. In Jia Delia's heart, Arthur was the one who redeemed her from darkness. He, Arthur, is a nightmare for all criminals. Just partners. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Arthur and Winddog. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Fengyuan area, hunting area. An off-road vehicle was speeding on the grassland, with a large number of Pokémon being driven and fleeing ahead. Damn it, why did that crazy dog appear here? Isn't he still in the orange blossom forest? A middle-aged rugged man was driving away while shouting loudly, his tone filled with fear. Behind them, there is a sturdy wind speed dog pulling closer to them at a visible speed. Since last year, a mad dog has emerged in the Fengyuan area, and any poacher who encounters it is unlikely to escape death. At the very least, it is also very difficult to find connections and spend money on bail. Now that crazy dog has set its sights on him, how can these poachers not panic? What these hastily fleeing poachers did not notice was that at this moment, a huge bird was soaring rapidly in the sky, and a young man with golden hair was silently observing everything. Suddenly, the boy made a gesture, and the fast-running Winddog on the ground instinctively accelerated its running speed. Hot flames spread around it, and the entire sturdy dog turned into a huge fireball, rushing towards the off-road vehicle. Bang! Accompanied by a collision sound, the off-road vehicle flew out forcefully from the side of the collision. The Winddog didn't stop, instead it quickly arrived at the overturned off-road vehicle, slapped the car window, and pulled out the poacher inside. Upon seeing this scene, the huge flying bird descended from the sky. The golden boy took out his phone and quickly edited a message before arriving at the off-road vehicle. Seeing a backpack inside, he tried to take it out. And just as the young man reached out his hand, a purple giant snake suddenly emerged from its backpack, displaying its ferocious fangs and biting towards the young man's neck. Faced with such an attack, the young man seemed to have not seen it, neither hiding nor avoiding, letting the big snake bite him. However, before the purple snake could bite the boy, the big bird next to him flapped its wings and grabbed the infamous snake. The rice spoon snake. With its claws. Ha, is the rice spoon snake. It's a shameful trick. The boy snorted lightly and took out his backpack and 2 elf eggs from the car on his own. And seeing his trump card, the rice spoon snake, easily taken down, the poacher was also heartbroken. Is one's own backhand just a small trick? Let me see what's inside. Arthur, the blonde boy's name, first opened his backpack, which contained several blank Pokémon balls, several special files, and a decent quality fire stone and an awakening stone with many impurities. This made Arthur curl his lips, hoping that these poachers would have something good. It was his own brain that had a problem. Immediately afterwards, his gaze swept over the 2 elf eggs. Elf egg. Cocodora potential. Heavenly King elf egg. Big-jawed ant potential. Daoguan level is at the elf egg of the big-jawed ant and Cocodora. The talent of Kokodora's Pokémon egg is quite good and worth cultivating, but the talent of the great-jawed ant is also a bit poor, only at the Taoist level. It's a pity that after seeing the Pokémon egg of the great-jawed ant, I still had a slight expectation in my heart. So this Kokodora's elf egg is my reward. At this point, admitting that there is something wrong with one's mind is not a bad thing. Then his gaze turned to the wind speed dogs and Bijiao around him, who were wary of the surroundings. Pokémon. Wind speed dog attribute. Fire height. 2.08 m, racial average height is 1.9 m, weight. 192 kilograms, racial average weight is 155 kilograms, feature. Intimidation, heart of justice, gender. Male skills. Speed, playfulness, flame tooth, flash charge, howl, help, bite, revenge, survive in a desperate situation, move at high speed, spark, roar, bite, stare, flame wheel, crash, jet flame, thunder tooth, flame vortex strength. First level Heavenly King potential. Champion system evaluation. A gifted and powerful wind speed dog, trained to be extremely excellent. Whether used as a quick attack or a standing attack, the wind speed dog can perfectly take responsibility. Pokémon. Bijiao attributes. Flight, general height. 1.75 m, racial average height of 1.5 m, weight. 48.5 kilograms, racial average weight is 39.5 kilograms, feature. Sharp gaze gender. Male skills. Storm, impact, sand splashing, rising wind, flash of electric light, blowing fly, tornado, feather dance, high-speed movement, wing attack, feather dwelling, following wind, destruction dead light strength. Quasi-Heavenly King medium-level potential. Heavenly King system evaluation. A talented sculptor who excels in fast flying. These two are Arthur's current main Pokémon, which seem to have been well trained by Arthur. Let me go. Please let me go. The poacher stumbled and begged for mercy when he saw Arthur's arrival. Arthur pulled out a document from his arms, completely devoid of the greed he had seen after seeing Kokodora's Pokémon eggs. He said with a righteous tone, "International Police Department, you're under arrest, Arthur." International Police. Upon hearing this, the poacher's face turned gray. He finally understood why the poacher and Pokémon hunter targeted by the Mad Dog could not be released on bail. It turns out that the trainer of Mad Dog is actually an international police officer, and he is also a police department assistant. It has nothing to do with such a young international police officer. It's all a lie, and ordinary people dare not offend such people. It seems that I will also become one of the other party's achievements. Upon seeing the disheveled poacher, Arthur also snorted softly, "The naturally evil poacher, repent in prison from now on." Ding, congratulations to the host for completing the capture mission. Reward a lucky draw opportunity. Let's draw a prize. Arthur murmured silently in his heart. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining a flame pearl. Is it a flame bead? Arthur pouted with some disdain, took out the flame pearl, and then threw it directly to the nearby Winddog. Upon seeing this, the Winddog quickly took the flame pearl and skillfully hid it in its mane, with a happy expression on its silly face. Next, we also need to work hard to become stronger. Windmill. This way we can better combat evil, Arthur said softly, touching Windmill's head. Woo woof. The wind speed dog let out two soft calls, and the wise eyes flickered with a strong sense of war. Chapter 2. Arthur, Partner of Justice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a moment, several police officers hurriedly arrived at Arthur under the leadership of Miss Junsa. Miss Jun Sha first bowed to Arthur before saying, "Arthur, I'm so grateful to you. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have been so easy to catch the poacher Mitsuikawa." He has been running around and committing crimes no less than 10 times. That's right. Arthur waved his hand and whispered, fighting crime is what I, as an international police officer, should do. Then he seemed to think of something. He handed the backpack to Miss Junsha and said, there seems to be a lot of criminal evidence in it. Please go back and investigate. Oh, by the way, these 2 elf eggs were stolen by Mitsui River. This one is Kekadora, and the other one is the big-jawed ant. According to the regulations, I am qualified to choose the seized stolen goods. How about I take Kokodora away? Miss Junsha took the backpack from Arthur's hand and said sternly, it is truly the light of justice. As an international police officer, Arthur, you have the right to choose unclaimed stolen goods. However, compared to Kokodora, the number of big-jaw ants is even rarer. I see you haven't gathered all 6 Pokémon yet. Why don't you take them with you? No, as trainers, we also have to take responsibility for Pokémon. The newly hatched Pokémon require more care from trainers, Arthur said in a righteous tone. This is also what my uncles and they have been teaching me. It's just that light of justice, it really makes him feel awkward. Dr. Oki. I understand. Miss Junsha's expression was stern, and she also felt a sigh in her heart. Arthur is truly Dr. Oki's nephew, and this kind of consciousness is definitely incomparable to ordinary people. It's up to you, Miss Junsha. Arthur retrieved the Winddog from the Pokémon ball, placed Kokodora's Pokémon egg in his space backpack, and then jumped onto Beacon's back and flew into the sky. Sir, is that the Justice Light of the International Police Department? The police officer behind Miss Junsha asked eagerly. Yes, he is the light of justice. It's also the hope of the Alliance. Junsha said solemnly, and then she turned her gaze to the disheartened Mitsui River on the side. Such scum has no meaning in existence. If it were according to normal law, he would only be sentenced to a maximum of 20 years and his eligibility to own Pokémon would be revoked. But almost all the poachers captured by Arthur started with life imprisonment. Upon hearing Junsha's introduction, the police officers on the side were also stunned. Is this a privilege? Can Dr. Daiki's nephew do as he pleases? Miss Junsha glanced at the police officer behind her, with a hint of a smile on her face, and said, the Alliance needs such a person. Her gaze towards Mitsuikawa was filled with disgust. Such a poacher should be executed directly. For people like them, whether they are eligible to own Pokémon has no impact on them, and talking about human rights is meaningless. Arthur sat on Beacon's back and flew quickly towards the direction of Kana City, his thoughts racing. I have been in this Pokémon world for 17 years now. If nothing unexpected happens, Xiaoji and Xiaomao should also be about to embark on a trip, right? The next few years may not be too peaceful. Arthur's full name is Daimu Arthur. His mother is the cousin of the famous Dr. Daimu, and his father used to be an assistant in Dr. Daimu's research institute. Shortly after marrying Arthur's mother, he gave birth to Arthur. Because it is considered a redundant relationship, Arthur also follows his mother's surname. When Arthur was 2 years old, their family was invited by their mother's friend Dr. Moan to study the ultimate cave in the Alola region. Before the age of 10, Arthur grew up in the Arola region, primarily at the Ether Foundation. It's just that unexpected things happen to people. At the age of 10, his parents and Dr. Moan disappeared into the ultimate cave while studying it together. This news also attracted Dr. Omi to the Alola region. After half a year of research, they were unable to open the ultimate hole, and Arthur was also brought back to live in Jinshin Town by Dr. Omi. There, Arthur met Xiaoji and Xiaomao, who were 1 or 2 years younger than him, and grew up with his cheap niece, Nai Mei. Until the age of 15, Arthur's mind received a message, a system activation condition prompt. This also left Arthur, who was preparing to remind his uncle to prepare some Mega Evolution stones and earn a certain reputation for himself, stunned. My own system actually requires me to join the official organization of the Alliance, in order to become an official person who punishes evil and promotes good. Of course, there are many ways to start the system. For example, as long as he becomes an excellent enough trainer and the 4 heavenly kings, he can punish evil and promote good, or join the Alliance's search officer system, or even become a forest ranger. It seems that the system can also be activated. However, in the end, Arthur chose to join the international police, partly because there seemed to be specialized institutions targeting the ultimate hole in the future international police department, and partly because his cousin, Dr. Oki's son, Naomi, and the father of Kobayashi, were high-ranking officials of the international police. After understanding Arthur's ideas, Dr. Oki and his team did not refuse, and even continued to build momentum for Arthur. In addition, due to the requirements of the system of punishing evil and promoting good, he has the opportunity to participate in a lottery every time he combats crime. After becoming an international police officer, he directly becomes a partner of justice, fighting against evil. During this period, Arthur also gained a lot of benefits. Although most of the rewards were props and materials for Pokémon, there were also many interesting things. For example, his current waveguide power was obtained during an operation that destroyed a notorious Pokémon hunter. Due to the power of the waveguide, Arthur's physical fitness is also comparable to some weaker Pokémon. He believes that as long as he continues to develop the power of the waveguide, he can eventually reach the level of Xiaoji. Well, although Xiaoji used the Phoenix King cheat, Arthur also used it. Chapter 3. Strike Rocket Team. This is a big deal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It has been over a year since Arthur joined the international police, during which he participated in many tasks and arrested many poachers. During this period, Arthur even used his connections to face life imprisonment for those poachers who should have been in prison for a few years. Even during the mission, Arthur looked at the unhappy poachers and directly wiped them out during the mission. After all, as for poachers, there are too many people being arrested, so it is normal to accidentally kill them. Arthur did not receive any criticism for this, and even his hateful style, combined with the connections behind it, made Arthur praised by many people. For example, a flying king who, like Arthur, claims to be a righteous companion and refuses to be named, also serves as an Alliance search officer. For example, the president of the Alliance, Mr. Damalanki. It is obvious that Arthur's character is well crafted, and he himself is quite satisfied with his current life. Of course, he also has many regrets, such as not being able to travel like Xiaoji and Xiaomao for example. He has extremely high requirements for Pokémon, and so far he has not gathered all 6 Pokémon. Of course, when facing the vast majority of enemies, just Winddogs and Beacon are enough to deal with them. However, if he wants to deal with those evil organizations, his current lineup is somewhat weak. It seems that it is time to cultivate more Pokémon. Just as Arthur was pondering these questions, his phone rang. When he saw the number on it, Arthur was momentarily stunned, but he still picked up the phone and smiled. Do you have anything to do with me, Do? Or do you think there are criminals from your side who have come to Fengyuan area and need my help? Arthur, there's an accident, said Do with a very serious tone on the other side of the phone. Just yesterday, the International Police Division in the Kanto region and the search officers of the Kanto Alliance launched a joint operation to besiege the rocket team, and the entire army was destroyed. What? Arthur was also surprised when he heard this. Is the whole army destroyed? If we were to besiege the rocket team, you probably had the 4 heavenly kings lead the team, right? How could the entire army be destroyed? The 4 heavenly kings did not participate in the mission because they all had their own tasks. They were led by the small room search officers in the Kanto region, said Do with a serious tone. I heard that the police officer in the small room has the same strength as the heavenly king, and even competes with you for the position of the 4 heavenly kings in the east. Arthur asked in surprise, is he also having a problem? Yes, this time we received intelligence that rocket team Cadre Chakra appeared near Yuhong City. The small-room police officer led his personnel to immediately arrest him, while Miss Lijia, a trainer from Yuhong City Road Museum, provided support. By the time Miss Lijia arrived at the scene, the battle had already ended. All personnel are missing. Among them, there is no shortage of elite international police, and the Union's search department Du's tone was extremely serious. It was obvious that there was a volcano about to erupt in Du's heart at this moment. Are you suspecting Miss Lijia? Arthur squinted his eyes and asked Du Fan. No, it can't be Lijia. Before the action began, Lijia had no idea about this matter. At first, Xiaoshi even planned to keep it a secret from Lijia, and Lijia arrived at the scene within 20 minutes after the distress message was sent. This is almost Lijia's limit. Du directly denied, this may already be a game set by the Rockets. It's also possible that we have an insider here who betrayed their information. There are indeed quite a few spies for the Rocket team, and if nothing unexpected happens, the Kanto League will be almost infiltrated by the Rocket team. Even the trainers at Liandao Hall are half members of the Rockets team. At that moment, Arthur really wanted to tell Du the truth he knew, but after hesitating for a while, Arthur still didn't come out. Not to mention that he has no evidence to prove that Sakaki is the leader of the Rockets. Even if he told Du believed him, and there is a great possibility that he will suffer retaliation from the Rockets in the future. Even if he is a member of the Omi family, he is no exception. The League has long been riddled with holes by the Rockets, and he doesn't believe these secrets will be kept. In this case, it seems that there is a problem on the Alliance side, possibly with the International Police or the Search Department. Of course, both are possible. Arthur sighed lightly and said, it seems that you will be busy next. Yeah, now I don't even know who can believe it, and who can't believe it anymore, said Du helplessly. So, Arthur, I want to invite you back to Kanto. I remember you have been in the Fengyuan area for a year now. Haven't you thought of returning to the Kanto region? This time, the international police in Kanto have suffered serious losses in their power, and if you come back, many people would be happy to see them. Becoming a police department should be a natural thing. Du, I have never become an international police officer for the sake of promotion. Arthur warned with righteous words. But only when you are promoted can you better fulfill your justice. Arthur, the evil organization in the Fengyuan area is nothing compared to the Rockets. I have a premonition that the Rockets must be secretly planning some big move. Once their plan is successful, the whole world may be under the shadow of the Rockets, and we must stop them. I also need your help. Do you earnestly advised? Upon hearing this, Arthur also touched his nose. Du's premonition was truly accurate. Thinking of the legendary Pokémon that was being created, he might really need to go back to the Kanto region. If that Pokémon had no problem with its thinking and was truly willing to become a hitter for the Rockets, it would have a huge impact on the Kanto region and Dr. Oki. And, the Rockets. That is not something that ordinary Pokémon hunters and poachers can compare to. If you can defeat the Rocket team's actions, the benefits you can gain are probably enormous. Moreover, Xiaomao and his companions are also about to start their journey. As an uncle, I should go back and meet him, and also see if there are any magical treasures on the way worth taking in. Du, I can't give you an answer right now. I need to discuss it with the organization. As for myself, I want to return to the Kanto region and fight against the Rockets with you. Arthur's words had a different meaning in Du's ear. Arthur is indeed the same person as himself. Even though he knew it would be very dangerous to confront the Rockets, he was still willing to return to the Kanto region. Undoubtedly, one is a partner of justice recognized by oneself. Chapter 4. Arthur's main team. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hanging up Du's phone, Arthur hesitated for a moment and didn't directly call anyone else. He just silently thought about what he should do next. Going to the Kanto region and causing trouble for the Rockets is definitely going. Perhaps there are many dangers involved, but as a traveler, and before crossing, Arthur was even more of a Pokémon fan, knowing secrets that many people do not know. If applied well, These secrets will bring unimaginable benefits to Arthur, although somewhat dangerous, they can also bring huge benefits to himself. I will eventually stand on the body of the rockets and reach the pinnacle. The rockets. It looks very powerful, but it's just an opportunity to swipe the lottery. The key still depends on how Arthur will do it afterwards and how to maximize benefits. While Arthur was constantly pondering how to get in, he had already returned to his home in Kana City. As the young master of the Daiki family, after becoming an international police officer, he did many tasks and arrested a large number of poachers. His salary and bonus were still considerable. His residence in Kana City is a small villa located in the suburbs. It's not that houses in the city center are unaffordable, but the official regulations of the Alliance have explicitly stated that even public officials cannot use flying Pokémon in the city center during non-mission periods. As soon as it landed, Arthur released the Winddog and a brown-gray figure quickly ran out of the house, shouting discontentedly at "Bye-bye. Sorry, Ibrahimovic. When we went out just now, you hadn't woken up yet, so we didn't bring you with us," Arthur said apologetically when he saw the little guy's angry expression. Pokémon. Ibrahimovic attribute. General height. 0.32 m, racial average height is 0.3 m, weight. 7.1 kilograms, racial average weight is 6.5 kilograms, characteristic. Adaptability, danger prediction, gender. Female skills. Impact, wag tail, bark, help, crave, splash sand, lightning flash, round pupils, high speed stars, bite, imitate, take the baton, crash, coquettish, shadow ball strength. Quasi-Heavenly King medium level potential. Champion system evaluation. The powerful Ibrahimovic may be able to consider its own evolution, otherwise its initial form will eventually limit Ibrahimovic's combat power. This IB can be considered Arthur's initial Pokémon. When he was 14 years old, Dr. Oki brought 2 Pokémon eggs to him and Xiaomao, both of which were IBES Pokémon eggs. At that time, Arthur had not yet activated the system, and after letting Xiaomao choose first, this Ibu became his magical treasure. So, Ibrahimovic's talent is very good, but it has been several years and Ibrahimovic has not yet considered what form to evolve into. Moreover, as of now, Ibrahimovic seems to prefer to maintain this state so that he can better lie on Arthur's shoulder. Just like the Ibu from Xiaomao. If nothing unexpected happens, Xiaomao's Ibu should be the future moon elf. In the yard, there is also a blue and white fox lying on the ground yawning. Pokémon. Ninetales attribute. Ice, Fairy Series height. 1.42 m, racial average height of 1.1 m, weight. 28.5 kilograms, racial average weight is 19.9 kilograms, features. Snowfall gender. Female skills. Magic Shine, Tail Shake, Blizzard, Frozen Wind, Seal, Freeze, White Mist, Frozen Light, Aurora Beam, Strange Light, Resentment, Fine Snow, Divine Power, Trick, Ice Gravel, Freeze Drying, Aurora Curtain Strength. Quasi-Heavenly King Advanced Potential. Heavenly King System Evaluation. The well-trained Ninetales in Allura form have special talents and stamina deviation in superpowers and fairy skills. It is recommended to improve. This nine-tailed one was also sent by Arthur's cousin, Daiki Seiya. It's Dr. Daiki from the Alola region. When the Arthur family was in the Alola region, Arthur often visited him as a guest. The relationship between the two sides is also quite good. After Arthur became an international police officer, this uncle sent him this gift. Ice Ninetales, Ibrahimovic, Winddog, and Beacon are Arthur's current lineup. After becoming an international police officer for a year, Arthur also thought about conquering other Pokémon, but unfortunately, there are too few Pokémon with good talents. Especially in the wild, it is even more difficult to encounter talented Pokémon. Like a magical treasure gifted by the Heavenly King, it is definitely a unique existence. Even in some ethnic groups, such as magical treasures like green caterpillars, even if there are hundreds of millions of green caterpillars, there may not be a green caterpillar gifted by the Heavenly King. Of course, the so-called potential talent does not lock in the upper limit of a magical treasure. With a large number of natural resources and treasures, as well as hard and reasonable training, it may not be impossible to exceed one's own limits. Just like Sakiki's big needle, it has also become a level that surpasses the champion Pokémon. It's one thing to rarely encounter wild Pokémon with exceptional talents, and often encounter wild Pokémon with relatively good talents, but they are not what Arthur likes. Moreover, it is best to take in young Pokémon or Pokémon eggs when taking in Pokémon. Adult Pokémon have their own combat styles, and many have missed the rapid growth period of their level. Some Pokémon even have many hidden injuries. To change their habits and improve their strength, they often achieve half the result with half the effort. The Pokémon that Arthur has cultivated so far, the Winddog, was gifted by Arthur's cousin who became an international police officer. Ibu was given by his uncle, Joey was given by his cousin, but Bijiao was taken in by himself in the Chongban forest, and at that time it was still Bobo, it's still a little short. After taking Kokodora's Pokémon egg out of his backpack, Arthur carefully calculated his lineup and silently sighed. Bye. IB looked at Arthur with curiosity when he saw the elf egg in his hand. This is a new partner. Arthur touched IB's head and saw that he seemed worried. He quickly added, but this will be a big guy. Upon hearing Arthur's words, Ibrahimovic also breathed a slight sigh of relief. Great guy, he wouldn't compete with him for the position of Arthur's shoulder. D. Chapter 5 Crossing. Arthur is the light of justice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hello, Arthur, why did you call me? Dr. Oki asked with a hearty laugh after receiving Arthur's call from his research institute. Previously, Du called me and invited me to return to the Kanto region to fight against the rockets with him. Facing his uncle, Arthur didn't hide anything and spoke up directly. Upon hearing this, Dr. Oki's expression stiffened and he said solemnly, "So are you planning to come back?" "Well, I'm planning to come back. I just don't know if it will cause you any trouble. After all, the rockets have a great influence in the Kanto region, and it wouldn't be good to implicate you." Arthur gave a bitter smile and said. "Arthur, if you think you're doing the right thing, then don't hesitate. Moreover, over the years, they have become bigger and bigger, and I can't bear to see many of their things. If it weren't for my lack of combat skills, would also be eager to participate in the battle against the rockets. Since you want to deal with the rockets, as an uncle, I will naturally support you," said Dr. Daiki with great care. "Is that so?" Arthur's lips showed a hint of a smile. "But Dr. Oki is not good at combat. Hehe, I believe in your evil. If I hadn't seen the level of your fast dragon before, I might have believed your words. Moreover, I suspect that the rockets have been plotting something during this period. You have done a great job in the Fengyuan area this year, and now you are needed in the Kanto region later." Dr. Daiki spoke sternly with Yoshimasa. "Since that's the case, I'll be back in a few days. Then I'll leave my transfer to you all." Arthur spoke sincerely. "Well, I'll handle this for you, old man." Dr. Daimu didn't refuse either. "Yes, Xiaomao and Xiaoji are going on a trip next month. Your initial Pokémon have not been claimed yet. Why don't you claim them together with Xiaomao and the others this time? Is it the initial Pokémon?" Arthur's gaze flickered slightly. "Okay, I haven't even assembled my current lineup yet. I hope there will be a Pokémon that satisfies me then." As the official son of the Alliance, Arthur naturally also has the qualification to receive the official Imperial 3 families. Arthur naturally would not refuse the 3 Imperial families in the Kanto region. Whether it's the Spitfire Dragon, Water Arrow Turtle, or Bulbasaur, they are all powerful and highly popular magical treasures. Especially the Spitfire Dragon, no matter which generation it is in, it is a biological son. Previously, at the age of 16, Dr. Oki reminded Arthur to collect the initial Pokémon, as he had paid for it. But at that time, several imperial families were not very talented, so he temporarily gave up his opportunity and then came to the Fangyuan region, while the quota has been kept until now. I have seen this batch of the 3 imperial families, and there are a few with good talents. You can come and take a look then, Dr. Oki reminded with a smile. As an honest elf doctor, he would not open a special back door for Arthur and the others in this regard. Arthur and his team have chosen Pokémon with excellent talents, but they will also let others choose those with poor talents. Dr. Daiki once taught Arthur and Kobayashi how to identify the basic talents of Pokémon. Although this identification method is not 100% accurate, it can only roughly estimate the quality of this Pokémon's talent. Of course, this may not necessarily be accurate, and it also requires sufficient understanding of this type of Pokémon. In Dr. Oki's view, it would be a great thing if Arthur and Kobayashi could select excellent initial Pokémon. But if you don't choose the best Pokémon, the impact won't be very significant. Arthur and his team already have other excellent Pokémon. Compared to the average person, Arthur and his team have already started very well. I understand. Arthur didn't refuse and agreed directly. After finishing the conversation with Dr. Oki, Arthur also sent his thoughts to Do. He believed that it would be easy for Do and Dr. Oki to go to the Kanto region on their own. Sure enough, Arthur is a righteous partner. Even though he knows the danger in the Kanto region, he is still willing to return to it. Upon receiving Arthur's message, Do's face showed a hint of smile and he said, "Arthur. Is it the most famous international police officer recently?" Shiba asked Dushuan. I made a phone call before and invited him to play against the Rockets with me. He agreed. A smile rose from the corner of Do's mouth and he said, although he is not yet 17 years old, his strength is not much worse than what I used to be. The most crucial thing is his almost innate sense of justice. With him and me working together against the Rockets, I also have greater confidence. I hope he doesn't give up halfway like that old guy in Daimu, Grandma Kikuko sneered coldly. For Dr. Daiki's family, Grandma Kikuko has always been paying attention. Moreover, Arthur is also considered a celebrity within the alliance. There is no dissatisfaction with Arthur and Mrs. Kikuko, at least the other party is not engaged in the research field like Daiki. It's not bad to fight against criminal forces. But now his strength is not good enough. Perhaps he has more than enough to defeat ordinary poachers, but if facing the Rockets, his current strength is far from enough. Not to mention Arthur, even if it's due, I'm afraid it won't work. However, if Arthur encounters danger, that old man cannot sit idly by, can he? Grandma Juzi's gaze flickered slightly, and for her, this may also be an opportunity. Arthur will not give up on cultivating Pokémon. I understand Arthur, and in order to uphold justice, he will constantly improve his strength. Do said in a tone that no one understands Arthur better than I do. However, Arthur's current strength is still insufficient, and we will also be the main force in our special strike operations against the Rockets in the future. Shiba nodded slightly and said, nowadays, the international police and search departments have suffered heavy losses. It is indeed necessary to crack down on the criminal forces in the Kanto region during this period. After he arrives in the Kanto region, I will meet him once. I also want to see what kind of person a young man who can be so admired by you would be. Kona sat on the side and silently used the authority of the Heavenly King to search for Arthur's intelligence. Of course, this was only some basic intelligence. However, after seeing Arthur's commonly used Pokémon, Kona's eyes also flashed with a hint of brilliance. Ice Nine Tails. Very good Pokémon. Chapter 6. Alpaca, I have something I want to talk to you about. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding, congratulations on the protagonist's promotion to the police department and winning 5 lottery opportunities. With the actions of Dr. Oki and Do, Arthur's promotion order was quickly issued. The International Police Department, under the age of 17, is not only unprecedented but also rare among international police departments. Of course, Arthur is not considered to have taken the back door either. His contributions over the past year are enough to make him a police officer. If there were no such relationship, Arthur's promotion might be pressured a bit. After he gets a little older, he can proceed with his promotion. Of course, this is also related to the heavy losses suffered by the International Police Department in the Kanto region this time. After Arthur returned to the Kanto region, he needed help to rebuild the Kanto branch. However, it's just the police department, it's still too low. Arthur licked his lips and then complained again. The position of the police department is certainly not low, but in Arthur's opinion, there are still some shortcomings. Next, set a small goal for yourself to be promoted to the police station within a year. Let's draw. Arthur muttered silently in his heart. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining beautiful scales, a diving ball, a fairy egg of foam chinchilla, potential of quasi-heavenly king, the exercise method of tortoise fairy flow, and the white silk of Jyadelia. Turtle fairy flow exercise method. Even though Arthur had known before that this system would draw things from other worlds, he was clearly stunned upon hearing this information. First, it gave me the power of a waveguide, and then it gave me the way to exercise the turtle fairy flow. Is this to make me stand on par with the gods like a mortal? Or is it to say that in the future, when the alpaca wants to go extinct, it should stand out and shout out a wicked beast to calm me down a bit? Don't say it, it seems quite emotional. Of course, Arthur also knows that he is not a super scion, just a super real newcomer, and he should not be able to cultivate to the extent of destroying the earth with just one strike. After all, even within the Dragon Ball, there are not many earthlings besides those aliens who can truly achieve starburst. Perhaps I can really exercise myself. Beautiful scales are a good thing. Ugly fish need beautiful scales to evolve into Venus, and this is not a secret. However, the beautiful scales are currently at a market price, and Arthur is quite interested in Minas. When there is an opportunity, it will be good to find a talented ugly fish to cultivate. The foam chinchilla is also a good magic treasure. The foam chinchilla at the level of quasi-king is also excellent in this race. After all, most of the time, foam chinchilla is cultivated as a domestic pet and is loved by my little sister. However, for Arthur, the foam chinchilla with the talent of the wood.be king is still a little poor, even if it has some means to improve its potential, or even to cultivate it beyond the limit. But Arthur doesn't have so much time to cultivate foam chinchilla, instead, he can give foam chinchilla to others. It's a pity that Lily AI can't touch the Pokémon now, or she can send the foam chinchilla to Lily AI. It seems that only foam chinchilla can be sent to Naomi. As for Jyadelia's white silk, keep it for now, it won't have much impact. Arthur had just finished drawing the reward when his phone rang. He picked it up and saw that Guy Du was there again. At that moment, Arthur also answered the phone directly. Arthur, you should have received the transfer order already, right? Du Kai said directly. Well, it just took me back to the Kanto region and promoted me to the police department. But after I went back, I didn't tell me exactly what to do. Arthur chuckled lightly. The position of the police department, whether it's high or not, depends on how one thinks. At least for the vast majority of people, it is a height that they will never reach in their lifetime. But for Arthur, it's just the beginning. His cousin is now the police inspector in the Kanto region, which is already the height of the second sequence of international police. The status is not inferior to that of a king or even a champion. The Kanto Alliance will establish a special joint team against the Rockets. There will be people from the Kanto Heavenly King, Daoguan, Miss Junsha, Search Department, International Police, and other departments inside. Du spoke solemnly. I have no objection to calling you the Kanto Heavenly King, but what do you call the Shangdao Hall trainer for? Don't you know that half of the dojo trainers in the Kanto region are actually members of the Rockets? Oh, by the way, if you don't know about this, then there's nothing else. You will be in charge of the international police, then Du continued, adding, this time the international police have suffered heavy losses in the Kanto region, with at least 2/3 of their manpower lost. So I recommended you as the representative of the international police, and they also agreed. As for your helper, we will need to discuss it among your departments in the future, sure. I have no objections on my end, Arthur sighed lightly. Although he has been an international police officer for over a year now, he doesn't know many people either. Why don't you call him Mr. Handsome? Anyway, the status of a handsome guy is not as high as his own, and it's also good to be an honest tool for himself. Oh, by the way, there have been heavy losses in the Kanto region. How about calling Xiao Ji and Xiaomao on their own? Who is the strongest against the rockets in this world? That must be Xiao Ji. Although he and the rockets have been in love and fighting for several years, in Xiao Ji's world, the rockets seem to have nothing to do, just a dream of flying away and Sakaki exposing it. But Xiao Ji and his team still caused a lot of trouble for the rockets. Unfortunately, there is no Crimson in this world, otherwise it would be better to follow behind Crimson and directly defeat the rockets. Well, I'm planning to hit a few small teams of the rockets here these days and gather some information first. As for your words, let's discuss them on the quartz plateau then. After thinking for a moment, Du said to Arthur again. I understand. Arthur quickly hung up the phone. At the same time, there is also some helplessness. I unexpectedly joined this brigade as a representative of the international police, and with my own strength, it seems that there are still some shortcomings. However, for myself, this is not just an opportunity, I just hope that by then, there will be no internal demons among all members of this team. Arthur glanced at his Winddog, Nine-Tailed, Beacon, and Ibrahim, and silently sighed. He was still not strong enough. Chapter 7 Xiaomao. I feel like you're taking advantage of me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jinshin Town is located south of Changpan City and is known as the purest and pollution-free place. It is rumored that Jinshin Town was originally named Chunbai Town, but later changed its name to Jinshin Town in memory of Dr. Daimu's great-grandfather, Daimu Jinshin. Therefore, in this town, the Daiki family holds a different position. Nowadays, this town has a great reputation worldwide due to the presence of Dr. Oki. Dr. Daiki's reputation is not only in the scientific research community, but also in the field of trainers, and he has a very high reputation. I don't know how many trainers used to learn basic knowledge through lectures given by Dr. Oki when they were young. If one day Dr. Oki wants to run for the presidency of the alliance, Damalanki may not be as good as Dr. Oki. On that day, in the backyard of the Daiki Research Institute, two teenagers were staring at a group of magical treasures. Xiaomao, what do you think of that Johnny Turtle? Look at that shiny head, it's definitely a good Johnny Turtle. A boy with a Z mark on his cheek shouted at Xiaomao. Idiot Xiaoji, that's not how Johnny Turtle's talent looks. Xiaomao glanced at Xiaoji speechlessly, while also silently sighing in his heart. He had long known from his own grandfather that Xiaoji did not qualify for the Imperial Three family. However, as a grandfather, I have always taken care of the children in Jinshin Town. Moreover, Aunt Huazi often helps them take care of the Pokémon. Xiaomao also knows that his grandfather has prepared a Pikachu for Xiaoji. If possible, Xiaomao would like to remind Grandpa what's good about Pikachu. There are so many magical treasures in their yard, and sometimes they also give birth to offspring. Among them, there are many suitable magical treasures for Xiaoji. However, Grandpa seems to be very enthusiastic about that Pikachu, saying that Pikachu is the most suitable magical treasure for Xiaoji. He doesn't say much anymore. However, in a few days, I will also have to choose the initial Pokémon. Which one should I choose? Now that I have IB and Katy dogs, when I go on a trip, I will evolve Katy dogs into wind speed dogs. As my main fire type, Little Fire Dragon doesn't need to be chosen. It's not easy to choose between Bulbasaur and Johnny Turtle. These are all my favorite Pokémon, and if possible, Xiaomao really wants to say I want them all. Under normal circumstances, there is only one chance to choose from 3 families, unless there are some special circumstances. Xiaomao didn't think so much now. He knew it would be very difficult to encounter the imperial family in the wilderness. How could anyone in this world just go on a trip and conquer various imperial families? This is impossible, absolutely impossible. Xiaomao, when we win Pokémon, we need to rely on our feelings. How can we win Pokémon because of their talent? Xiaoji said to Arthur with a hint of dissatisfaction. Moreover, Arthur once said that when we win Pokémon, we cannot just rely on Pokémon's innate talent. If we are sincere enough towards Pokémon, Pokémon will respond to our wishes. Bastard! Xiaomao immediately complained upon hearing this. Who are you calling brother? Then I'm uncle, do you understand? You should call yourself uncle instead of brother in your daily life. Who are you taking advantage of? Xiaomao and Arthur also spent a few years together. At first, he called Arthur, who was 1 or 2 years older than him, uncle, but he couldn't quite say it. But Arthur is really his uncle according to his seniority, and Naomi is 1 or 2 years older than Arthur. Isn't he still going to call him Uncle Arthur? Now Xiaomao can also accept this identity, but what does Xiaoji mean by that? But I've always called Arthur Arthur's brother, right? Xiaoji scratched his head and said nonchalantly, no big deal, Xiaomao, just call me uncle. You bastard. Xiaomao's hair exploded instantly. At this moment, he didn't know whether Xiaoji understood his meaning or deliberately wanted to take advantage of him. You're so angry. You're here. Xiaomao, Xiaoji. Just as Xiaomao was about to go berserk, a sweet voice appeared not far from them. It's Naomi, Xiaoji quickly greeted. For this gentle older sister, Xiaoji still has a good impression, much easier to get along with than Xiaomao. I'm looking at the Yuzhen family, sister. Do you have anything to do? Xiaomao saw that it was his own sister, so he suppressed his temper and asked Naomi Xuan. Today's Naomi is a bit strange, completely different from her usual attire. Her exquisite makeup, a hip wrap skirt that showcases her figure to the fullest, and her slender legs wrapped in high C. Even Xiaomao couldn't help but sigh, his old sister is still quite beautiful. If he had such a beautiful girlfriend, how could he find so many girlfriends? Arthur is coming back today, don't you know? Naomi looked at Xiaomao in surprise. The relationship between Arthur and Xiaomao has always been good, there's no reason why Arthur told himself, didn't he tell Xiaomao? Arthur is coming back. I don't know. Xiaomao frowned. Why is Arthur coming back, but he doesn't know? That should be because it was too late to talk about this yesterday. Arthur thought you were already asleep, so he didn't tell you, did he? Naomi quickly changed the topic, but her heart was filled with joy. Sure enough, my position is different from that of Xiaomao. I didn't waste my time getting up early and applying beautiful makeup, and even put on Arthur's favorite high C. Is that so? Xiaomao didn't feel strange when he heard this, after all, Arthur and Naomi's relationship has always been good. Unlike feeling annoying to oneself, Arthur doesn't seem to have such a feeling. In the past, when Arthur was at home, I often saw Naomi coming out of Arthur's room at night. Alas, what is there to study about those knowledge of animal husbandry? They are all trainers. Leave professional matters to professionals. Coming. Suddenly, Naomi turned her gaze to the sky, where a black dot rapidly zoomed in from far to near. Did the BB bird grow so big in the beginning? Xiaomao instantly recognized the magical treasure sitting in Arthur's seat, even if it was just a glance from a distance, it could be seen that Arthur had trained the BB eagle very well. When you go on a trip, you must cultivate a more excellent sculpture than Arthur's sculpture. What about the super real newcomers mentioned in Chapter 8? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Accompanied by the rapid landing of the statue, Arthur was wearing a pair of jeans, a sky blue casual shirt, and an Ibrahimovic was lying on his shoulder. Coming down from Baijiao's body, Arthur, with a sunny expression, greeted the three of them and said, "Nai Nai Mei, Xiaomao, Xiao Ji, long time no see." "Long time no see, brother Arthur." Xiao Ji greeted him casually and then quickly approached to inquire, "Arthur, this year, show me what Pokémon you have conquered this year." "Pokémon? I haven't really tamed them much." Arthur waved his hand and said, "After all, if you tame Pokémon, you need to take responsibility for them, not just ignore them. Now I have only tamed 5 Pokémon. Well, Cocodora has already hatched yesterday, and Arthur's Pokémon also have 5. With these words, Arthur took out the fairy eggs of foam chinchilla from his backpack and handed them to Ninim, saying softly, "Ninim, this is the fairy eggs of foam chinchilla that I accidentally got. You can use the light stone to evolve into chinchilla." "Foam chinchilla. Thank you, I like it very much." Nai Naime took the fairy egg and said fondly. She is not Xiaomao, who doesn't like fighting. At the same time, as Dr. Oki's granddaughter, she is no stranger to foam chinchilla. Now Arthur can give himself a foam chinchilla, which seems good. Foam chipmunk. Xiaomao frowned and then gave a scornful chuckle. Only Nai Nai Mei would like this lovely magical treasure. He was sure to win over powerful magical treasure, such as the explosive flying dragon. If it was hard, it would be like Bosco Dora. "Arthur, show me your Pokémon now." Xiao Ji shouted at Arthur again at this moment. "I haven't really tamed Pokémon much, almost all of them are from the past, and I usually go on missions outside." "Forget it, come out. Everyone." Arthur also opened his Pokéball and released his Pokémon one after another. The imposing wind speed dog, the elegant and noble ice nine-tailed dog, the coquettish and cute Ibrahimovic lying on Arthur's shoulder, the Bijiao tidying up feathers with a bird beak on the side, and the foolish Cocodora lying on the ground, not knowing where to go. This Pokémon. Xiaomao was instantly attracted to Cocodora. He had previously said he wanted to conquer Bosco Dora, but to his surprise, Arthur already had Cocodora. "I saved his egg from the poacher before, and then I hatched it and tamed it," Arthur said softly as he touched Cocodora's head. "Duo." Cocodora arched Arthur, expressing his affection for him. Many excellent trainers like to hatch their own Pokémon eggs, which can also create a deeper bond between trainers and Pokémon. "Is Cocodora okay?" Naomi looked at Cocodora on the ground with a hint of surprise. "This is still the first time I've seen Cocodora. I have only seen Bosco Dora before. Oh, I really wanted to." Xiaomao looked at Arthur with envy. Although Cocodora may not be a cherished Pokémon, it is also a Pokémon worth Xiaomao's special effort to conquer. When you go on a trip, be sure to go to the Fengyuan area to subdue Bosco Dora. Pokémon. Cocodora properties. Steel, rock height. 0.28 m, racial average height is 0.4 m, weight. 93 kilograms, racial average weight of 60 kilograms, characteristic. Hard head, heavy metal, gender. Male skills. Impact, harden, iron head strength. Beginner stage potential. Heavenly King system evaluation. Cocodora, with excellent talent and a hard head combined with heavy metals, can achieve good results in battles. Arthur is quite satisfied with this Cocodora. If cultivated well, one may not be unable to become their main tank in the future. Although there is only the potential of the Heavenly King, the magical treasures of the Heavenly King's potential are already rare, and with Arthur's resources, there is also a chance to cultivate Cocodora beyond his own limits. A magical treasure that I haven't seen before, it looks very good. Xiaoji came to Cocodora's side. "Well, this is a magical treasure I haven't seen before, and instinctively wanted to pick it up." With that, his face changed and he couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, "What a heavy magical treasure. Xiaoji, can't you pick it up?" Arthur looked at Xiao Zhi curiously and asked. The other party is a super newcomer, how could they possibly not hold Cocodora? Although heavy metal Cocodora is very heavy, with the performance of Xiao Zhi in the animation, it definitely won't feel heavy. Although my strength is not small, this Pokémon is really heavy. Xiao Zhi gave up the idea of picking up Cocodora and said helplessly. Arthur, does your Cocodora have heavy metals? Xiaomao asked. Well, it's indeed a characteristic of heavy metals. Arthur didn't hide it either. Despite its small size, it weighs 93 kilograms. If it were bigger, its weight would probably be even more terrifying. Hush. The other three of them couldn't help but take a deep breath of air when they heard Arthur's words. 93 kilograms, who can afford it? But before they could roast, an amazing thing appeared in front of them. Cocodora was really picked up by Arthur. When did Arthur's strength become so strong? Fortunately, it's still within my acceptable range now, Arthur said with a smile as he put down Cocodora again, full of emotion. When it grows up a little longer, I won't be able to hold it anymore. At the same time, Arthur also had some speculations about Xiao Zhi's inability to hold on to Cocodora. Currently, Xiao Zhi is not yet a true super newcomer, and it is feared that he will have to wait until he is resurrected by the Phoenix King before he can truly become the Xiao Zhi who seems to be cheating. After all, the Phoenix King resurrected 3 Pokémon, and those 3 Pokémon became the 3 holy beasts, reviving Xiao Zhi and giving him physical strength comparable to the legendary Pokémon, which seems normal. If he didn't awaken the power of the Wave Guide and had a powerful physical body, he wouldn't be able to hold Cocodora. Just as Arthur was about to say something, he felt the power of a waveguide scanning him. Although the scanning of this waveguide was very covert, it was keenly detected by Arthur. Is there a Pokémon in the Research Institute who excels in waveguides? This was unexpected for Arthur. During the new book period, I hope everyone can support me, I hope flowers can be highly praised, and I hope to collect them. Thank you. Chapter 9. The most suitable Pokémon for Arthur. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everything has a waveguide, but there are not many magical treasures that can control the waveguide. Apart from legendary magical treasures or mythical beasts such as Xiaomao, Menghuan, and the 3 dragons of creation, there are also it seems that there are quite a few Pokémon who can learn waveguide shells. Initially, only a few Pokémon could master waveguide shells. After the emergence of Sword Shield and Vermilion Purple, there were many Pokémon who had the possibility of learning waveguide shells. Of course, besides the legendary Pokémon, the most famous one for the power of the waveguide is also Lucario. Many of the other ordinary Pokémon, although theoretically capable of mastering wave missiles, are not particularly skilled in this area. When Arthur was in the Fengyuan area before, he had also searched for the traces of Leo Road. However, during his mission, Arthur did not see the wild Leo Road either. Arthur is planning to wait for a while before he can make some contributions and let the Alliance help him find the talented Leo Road. However, now there is a Pokémon using a waveguide to explore himself, which clearly stunned Arthur. Then he became excited again. This young man seems to have a promising future. With excellent waveguide control ability, Arthur quickly identified the gathering place of the 3 royal families not far away. There is a skinny and silly turtle in the pond, which is smaller than the ordinary Jenny turtle, lurking to observe itself. Are you attracted by your own waveguide? Arthur instinctively scanned the Johnny Turtle. Pokémon. Johnny Turtle attribute. Water height. 0.48 m, racial average height is 0.5 m, weight. 7.8 kilograms, racial average weight is 9 kilograms, characteristic. Rapids gender. Male skills. Impact, wagging tail, waveguide projectile strength. Beginner stage potential. Champion system evaluation. The Johnny Turtle, with its explosive talent, looks thin and weak. Its parents' talents don't seem to be very good either. In terms of waveguide and combat, it has extremely outstanding talents. As long as you are willing to tilt your resources towards it, it will definitely become a trustworthy companion. Upon seeing the information from Johnny Turtle, Arthur couldn't help but take a deep breath of air. Jenny Turtle with champion potential. I didn't expect there to be such a Johnny Turtle here. Immediately after, Arthur swept over other Pokémon. Pokémon. Johnny Turtle potential. Heavenly King Pokémon. Johnny Turtle potential. Heavenly King Pokémon. Little Fire Dragon potential. Quasi-Heavenly King Pokémon. Bulbasaur Seed potential. Daoguan level Pokémon. Bulbasaur Seed potential. Heavenly King Pokémon. Little Fire Dragon potential. Quasi-Heavenly King A Champion potential Johnny Turtle, 2 Heavenly King potential Johnny Turtles, 1 Heavenly King potential Bulbasaur, 2 Quasi-Heavenly King potential Little Fire Dragons, and a Taoist level Bulbasaur. Even though Arthur knew that the 3 royal families in this issue would be very good, he never expected them to be so good. I think these 3 imperial families were also specially arranged to take care of them. After all, among the general imperial 3 families, the Daoguan level is quite common, and those with quasi-heavenly king potential are already considered quite excellent. However, this time, there is so much heavenly king potential, even magical treasures with championship potential. Okay, now Arthur admits that he's tempted. At first, Arthur also wanted a little dragon as his initial Pokémon. After all, in the world of Pokémon, if you don't cultivate a Spitfire dragon, you will have a sense of white time travel. Arthur's good friend Dew has a powerful Spitfire dragon, and as for the Dondi, who is touted as the strongest champion, Arthur has not yet met him. But now that there are excellent Johnny Turtles, and they are skilled in fighting and waveguide, how could Arthur choose other Pokémon? Unless there is a champion talented little dragon in front of you at this time, for you to choose from. As for the Spitfire dragon. As long as one's strength is strong enough, there will always be a chance to obtain it. Moreover, I just learned the exercise method of Turtle Fairy Flow, and now I have such a Johnny Turtle. Isn't this a natural creation? Arthur, have you taken a liking to that Johnny Turtle? Noticing Arthur's gaze, Xiaomao reminded him, oh, by the way, it seems that you haven't chosen the initial Yuzhen family yet. I advise you not to choose that Johnny Turtle. It seems that he doesn't even know how to use a water gun, and his talent is obviously not good. The other 2 Johnny Turtles have good talents. There is one thing that Xiaomao did not say. He has already set his sights on a Johnny Turtle and plans to choose one as his initial Pokémon. Of course, it's not the Johnny Turtle that Arthur is interested in, who doesn't even know how to stain water. Can that be considered a Johnny Turtle? No, I feel like this Johnny Turtle is perfect for me. Arthur chuckled lightly, staring intently at the turtle. This is resonance from the waveguide, and no one is more suitable for cultivating this Johnny Turtle than me. As Arthur spoke, he walked towards the direction of the Johnny Turtle, and a stunning wave of waveguide erupted from his body. What is this? Xiaoji was completely dumbfounded. Bird. So what is that? Even Kobayashi and Naomi did not expect that Arthur had mastered the power of the waveguide. It was clear that Arthur had no such means before leaving. On the other side, Dr. Oki, who had just packed up his research materials, came to the backyard and saw this scene with a relieved expression. Dr. Oki is one of the few informed individuals about Arthur's awakening of the power of the waveguide. In his opinion, this is definitely a good thing. After all, awakening the power of the waveguide can also strengthen Arthur's self-protection power. Dr. Oki has also considered getting Arthur a Lelu. After all, waveguide warriors can often attract the power of Lelu. However, the exceptionally talented Leo is really rare. Originally, he wanted to sell some face and ask for the children of his old friend Lucario, but unexpectedly found out about the existence of this Johnny Turtle. Born with excellent waveguides, although not Leo Road, it is currently the most suitable Pokémon for Arthur. Sure enough, as soon as Arthur arrived at the Research Institute, he met up with Johnny Turtle. Is this a mutual admiration between geniuses? No, this is the bastard looking at the mung beans. You're right. Immediately after, Dr. Daiki turned his gaze to the Kekadora lying on the side. The heavy metal Kekadora must be thoroughly studied and researched. D. For flowers, for monthly tickets, for automatic subscriptions, Momoda, love you all. Chapter 10. Aju becomes a teammate. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Johnny Turtle, I'm very optimistic about you. Do you want to become my Pokémon? Arthur released his own waveguide and reached out his hand to Johnny Turtle, saying in a warm and gentle voice. Johnny. Johnny Turtle blinked his eyes, full of curiosity towards Arthur. What a powerful waveguide, I never expected that there are such and such waveguides among humans. What should we do? I really want to follow this adult side. The Johnny Turtle is very smart. It knows it will eventually find a trainer to follow, why can't it be the one in front of it? Believe me, no one is more suitable for you than me. Arthur rubbed the head of the Johnny Turtle while inputting his own waveguide into it. Johnny. This Johnny Turtle seemed to have done a super health check, and this feeling was really comfortable. The turtle said that it felt comfortable rubbing its head. So I'll treat you as agreeing to Johnny Turtle. Arthur smiled and said, seeing how Johnny Turtle looked. There's no need to prepare any extra turtle shells. We'll start training for Gixianliu tomorrow. Arthur, congratulations, this is Johnny Turtle's Pokémon Ball. Although the date for selecting the 3 royal families has not yet arrived, your qualifications have been retained, so it is not a problem to claim them now. Dr. Oki chuckled and handed Arthur a Pokémon Ball, whispering softly. Thank you very much, Uncle. Arthur took the Pokémon Ball without refusing, and directly took the Johnny Turtle in. It seems that this Johnny Turtle was specially prepared by Dr. Oki for himself. I just said, how could a Johnny Turtle who excels in waveguides suddenly appear in the Research Institute? Previously, Dr. Daiki specifically reminded himself to come back, probably because of this Johnny Turtle. You really tamed this Johnny Turtle. Xiaomao saw this scene and came to Arthur's side, sighing heavily. I have already made up my mind, and I will choose the Johnny Turtle in the future. Let's see whose Johnny Turtle is stronger then. Speaking of which, Xiaomao's gaze towards Arthur also became increasingly hot. Arthur's Ibrahimovic and Windmill dogs are both related to him, and he also has similar Ibrahimovic and Katie dogs. They were both acquired together in the beginning. Nowadays, the strength of both sides is vastly different. Xiaomao does not believe that he is inferior to Arthur, but rather that Arthur is traveling and fighting outside, while he can only be inside the Research Institute. If I had set out on a trip a year ago, I would definitely not be inferior to Arthur. Okay, let's wait and see. Arthur sighed lightly when he saw Xiaomao looking like this, truly worthy of Xiaomao. I didn't feel surprised at all that the other party would behave like this. Alright, Arthur, you must be tired after coming back dusty. I have already tidied up your room for you at this moment. Nai Mei stared at Arthur and whispered, you go take a shower first, and we'll eat together later. Okay. You didn't even want to call me uncle, Arthur muttered, but didn't say much. Naomi is still so gentle. This is the guidebook I have collected this year. Uncle, could you please transmit the data? After taking a bath, Arthur handed his guidebook to Dr. Oki and said. Please. Dr. Daimu took the Pokémon guidebook, but didn't bother to eat. He quickly ran to the computer with the guidebook and started operating it. Arthur, what is the Fengyuan area like? Is the Pokémon there different from ours? Xiaoji is full of anticipation and is curious about Arthur. There are indeed many interesting Pokémon over there. After you travel to the Kanto and Chengdu regions, you can consider traveling to the Fengyuan region. Arthur chuckled lightly and said, the legends over there are different from ours. there are also many interesting Pokémon. I think you will all like it, is that so? The Pokémon in different regions are different, it seems that I will have to travel around the world in the future. Xiaoji nodded suddenly. How did you think of returning to the Kanto region? Are you also planning to travel with us? Xiaomao looked at Arthur curiously. My uncle seemed to have the same initial goal as me, to become a trainer and participate in various regional competitions. But the result was that he went crazy and went to become an international police officer. Are you traveling? Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have this opportunity. I still have to go to the Quartz Plateau for a meeting tomorrow. Arthur spread his hand and said, however, I should be in the Kanto region for a long time to come. Perhaps in the future, we may have the opportunity to cooperate. Xiaomao pursed his lips, unsure if it was a good thing or a bad thing. Is it because of the rockets? Recently, the rockets have been very rampant. A few days ago, when I went to buy things in Joban City, I heard that the rockets had caused trouble in Joban City and were eventually caught by the owner of Sakakikan. Nai exclaimed with emotion, if every museum owner were like Mr. Sakaki, there wouldn't be anything wrong with the rockets in the Kanto region. No, if every dojo owner in the Kanto region is like Sakaki, then there really is no future left. Sakaki is the leader of the rockets, but it's not convenient for Arthur to say this here. Sakaki Master's strength is very strong. If nothing unexpected happens, as long as he is willing, becoming the Heavenly King of the Kanto region is not a problem. At this moment, Dr. Oki put down the Pokémon guidebook and came to the side of a few people to sigh. I have also studied his tutorials on ground Pokémon, although they are not perfect. Not all of his knowledge is certain, but it has a great promoting effect on popularizing ground magical treasures. Many small techniques are extremely useful for ordinary trainers. Unfortunately, he is unwilling to join your team, otherwise it will be much easier for you to deal with the rockets. No, if he joins in, he really won't be able to play. Uncle, do you know what kind of owner will join? Arthur asked curiously. I'm not very sure about the specifics, but Aju from Shallow Red City is going to participate. If nothing unexpected happens, Aju will go to the urban area next year to become the Poison Heavenly King. For Aju, this action is also an opportunity. Dr. Daiki pondered for a moment and said softly.